Alex Jones was right, and I can prove it. About the frogs being gay, and about them putting chemicals in the water. All we have to prove frogs and chemicals to be the same is that chemicals are in fact gay. Now this is the easy part. I made a Venn diagram over here. We're going to find evidence for characteristics of chemicals. Frogs are becoming gay because of nasty chemicals in the water. Alright, chemical substance is a form of matter having chemical composition and characteristic properties. Characteristics. And what other characteristics can you describe other than gay? Lady Gaga said in 2011, part determined by genetics, yet gay genes have been elusive in a person's biology. See, a person's. Nothing about frogs. The gay bomb. And theories involved discharging female sex pheromones over enemy forces in order to make them sexually attracted to each other. The results in research of the notion today is largely ridiculed for a bizarre idea. Largely. Meaning there's some scientists that believe this, as well as non-effect of turning combatants or subjects gay. Combatants. So they made frogs fight in a lab while gay. This is about to blow this case wide open. The characteristics of a chemical reaction are in fact a color change, a formation of precipitate, formation of gas, a temperature change, and just like this article says, an odor change. Remote engineering involving a compound found in halitosis, which I thought was a mouth gum disease. So let's go back. Halitosis, blah 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 blah. Again, these effects would be produced by a non-lethal chemical weapon, possibly one that would affect hormonal and digestive systems. Hormonal digestive. The colon, the stomach. And what happens when you have something change in there? You have to fart. And here it is. A characteristic of a chemical reaction in fact are an evolution of gas. Frogs are in fact known for being smelly. These smells are not new. They're old. They put chemical in the water to make these frogs bad. Let's go back to the Wikipedia article. IG Nobel Prize Awards. Wright Laboratory 1, Satiric, 2007 IG Nobel. We don't need to see that. Researchers thought they were hot on the trail of gay genes in 1993. 1993. Just be aware, I was not alive before 1993. So therefore, this number seems made up to me. XQ28. It's close enough. Frogs. But there are only 27 MERS and 17 Li fragments. This may be considered of such high GC, no clue what these mean, 57% regions. Science can track gay up to 70%. This is right here. This means that gay can be tracked, and therefore, if it can be tracked, they could implement it into water, into a frog. Although the presentation makes that clear, in contrast with what a provocation is a press release about the site suggests, the retrievability of only applies to a study sample and do not to a water population. We can cut that out. It says tap water is turning humans and ... Most likely frogs gay. An appeal to authorities common type of fallacy or an argument based on an unsound logic when writers or speakers use to appeal to authority. Now, I'm not going to say I'm going to do this, but Alex Jones is older than me. He has more knowledge about the world, especially before 1993, for when they said these things were happening. And it must be true because he is a journalist. Journalists never lie about anything in their life. So we know that frogs, indicated by this right here, got a little smiley face on him. That's a nice looking frog. From here, in this frog's DNA, there is the gay gene. Now, if Alex Jones is right, and of course he is, they are in fact putting something that changes one of these genes in tap water. My final piece of resistance before my final knowledge particle. If there's any DNA altering chemicals that can be put in water, this blows the case wide open. The very first thing, DNA modifications that do not change the DNA sequence can affect gene activity. Gene activity is what we were talking about before. It was a genome. It was, in fact, not XQC, XQ28. They found some things in here. Changing the genome would be changing this. These modifications are known as epigenetic changes. So, an epigenetic change is, in fact, what's happening to these frogs. Environmental chemicals may modify multiple biological processes that affect epigenetic mechanisms. These changes may, in turn, modify chromatic organization, gene expression, and affect disease risks. Now, all these things seem like they change a lot about this frog. There is a chance in a world somewhere that could be like Earth, where there is a chemical. If you drank it, it could change your DNA in the XQ28. That would, in fact, over time, I'm not saying all at once. All at once is crazy. We all believe in evolution here. Evolution is a fact. This is a science video. Over time, evolution-wise, drinking this water from 1993 up till 2021 could, in fact, change a frog to be gay. We've seen this from the epidemic change. DNA is required to be changed by certain chemicals. All we know is that this frog right here, this cute looking frog, was fed chemicals that make frogs change themselves. They have links with changing the X or the XQ28 genome. In fact, or odor, precipitate. Frogs are generally very smelly. That means that for all these things, there's nothing that I see between a frog and a chemical reaction that are so different to say that these are not one. This means that the frog must have been turned gay by a chemical reaction in the water. Because we saw before an epidemic change was used in water to change DNA over time. Frogs generally live in a lot of unclean water. It's for these reasons that we've discovered and we've proven beyond a reasonable doubt that frogs are in fact being turned gay by the tap water in our society. And therefore, Alex Jones, the wise man himself, let me just draw him real quick. Here he is, Alex Jones. He is in fact a gay frog. Why do I know this? Because how else, without this research that we just did together, would he have known that tap water is turning people gay? How would he have known that hunch, that crucial hunch, if he himself didn't turn gay from the tap water? We know now that even though tap water does turn frogs gay, the bigger deal is that Alex Jones is in fact a frog.